Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Puzzle Rush. I am your host, Phoenix. I am a chess expert and a chess coach, and I am here to help you get better at solving chess tactics, walking you through step by step how we solve them, going from the lowest of 196 in this run all the way up to the 2000s, going as high as we can, hoping to reach 2800. If my real chess rating were 2800, I would be the best player in the world almost. So let's jump right into it. We've already solved 34 puzzles in the beginning run. We're taking about 1 minute per puzzle. Not too shabby, not too shabby. So in this puzzle I see before us here, you may think it's check and here and check, but the key is there is a foxhole. Okay, a little space, a little hidey hole for the king to run into. And then we don't have any way to get in on this diagonal. So when the king is running away, you want to look at the direction it's going, and it goes from here to here. Remember, check here, knight check here. And so it's hiding here and here, which means it went this way, which means in order to stop that, we want a light square diagonal piece, but we don't have one. So that's how we know that one is wrong. So instead, I prefer this little guy. I was about a mate in one to start our day. Not a bad way to warm up. You walk right into these tactics. You like a little mate in one action every now and again. You like a little freebie puzzle. Why not? Who doesn't? So this is a classic. I can't tell you how many times when I was a young kid that I fell for this kind of thing. What we have here is a threat against our queen, and it's supported by a knight. Well, here's the problem. The queen also attacks the bishop. So all we're going to do is we're going to remove the knight, but we're doing it with check. This is climbing the ladder, okay? Again, so we're attacking a bishop, but they're attacking a queen. Queen is higher. So we have to beat them, like erase them, like in poker, and say, okay, I see your attack on my queen, and I will raise you an attack on the king. This bishop doesn't attack the king. If we took here, it wouldn't be attacking a king, it'd be attacking a bishop, which isn't higher than a queen. So let's attack a king. Now we're going to take this. Ah, what did I miss? I'm shocked. I must have not watched it fast enough. Ah, yeah. I don't know why I clicked that so fast. So I was meant to do this first and then take the queen. It's going to be, well, I'll show you. That's a little bit embarrassing. I'm trying to talk and click at the same time. Take here first. And now we take this queen. That's the answer. He didn't have to do the queen trade. He could have taken back with the queen, and we take the bishop. Right here. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Either take queen, or take bishop. So I don't know why. I just clicked it a little bit too fast. So we got our first red X. That's unfortunate. 1915. Here's the thing at these levels. A lot of times they're easy tactics and harder puzzles because of stuff like that. It's about losing focus. It's not about knowing the chess. It's about losing the focus. So we have to dial it in here and do what we're supposed to do and think it all the way through on every single move, not moving too quickly. So let's try that here. Looks like this piece is hanging because it's attacked twice. Problem I see is that if we took there, this bishop comes here and the king is overworked guarding two things. So for example, if we took and the knight took, and then we took the knight, we'd get bishop takes here, and the king would take here, and then the queen would take here. And we aren't up material, right? We would have this knight. So we'd have to get out of that. And I think the way to do that would be dropping the queen back here. I think that might be the answer. So let's think it out. We have 4 pieces to 4 pieces each. So basically nothing's been traded except these d-pawns. They're missing. So we have a weak bishop here. We have a weak bishop here. We have a king. The rooks are, of course, weak, but they usually are. They're undefended in this case. So that's why we're looking at them. We have a little problem of queen takes knight. So for example, here, and we lose our knight. So that's also an issue. Now, if we take here and knight takes here and we take there, then we have a queen guarding a knight, which is a little bit scary. So maybe here, and take, and that wins them a pawn, but then the knight is no longer attacked. So I'm not seeing why that's much of an issue, because we can just come on back with our queen, and our knight is safe. Perhaps we drop the knight back. I wonder if it matters, or if we're just winning at that point. I think we got this, everybody. So these are the ones where I start to doubt myself here, because what am I missing? That, like I said, it looks like it's a simple tactic, but as we saw in the last one, you got to be careful. You can't just be not paying attention and phoning it in. So let's try it, and I think we're good, because I do think that's all we've got in this situation. Huh? Now, do we take the knight like we said? I think so. We don't worry about them winning the pawn because it's a piece. And I don't think we have anything better than that. Uh-huh. Now we take it, and they take the bishop, and then we come back, right? And everything is guarded. Should be. Because here's the thing. I also looked at this. Queen check, but that also doesn't matter because the knight comes back. What we're not going to do is move the king and lose the knight. So I take this. Okay, it doesn't make us do it. I would figure queen, 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 and then the important move would be knight comes back from here to here. Otherwise, it's dead. So that's the key there. So I guess that one wasn't that hard. No tricks involved. Okay, this one looks like I can go knight here, mate. But knight on, then what do we do? Doesn't look like we have anything. I do see that we have a check here. Okay, if we move the knight, then we have mate in the back if the bishop moves. Basically the bishop becomes pinned. So can we go like here or here? If we go this way, the pawn will take us, and then we have nothing. But if we go this way, how do you stop this mate? I don't think you can. Well, you can temporarily. You can like put a bishop here, but then we can take that and we're up a piece and we're winning. So pretty sure it's just going to be knight here. If bishop blocks, knight check. That's mate. Yeah, well, that doesn't do anything. This is like he's just throwing pieces away to stop mate. So the point of that was not do I take the queen? The point of that was this. I'll show this on the analysis board. Was this. Now I have a couple threats. First of all, if this bishop weren't here, this would be mate. Second of all, I'm threatening mate in one this way. And third of all, if nothing else happens, I can go here. Right here. So like, this, for instance, is mate in two different ways. Let's go with this one. And so you're probably asking, what about this one? Doesn't that solve everything? No, that's mate. So that's the key. You have to see this. Taking the queen isn't anything. That doesn't matter. So we have a bishop here guarding mate. If we could just take here, it would be mate. So do we have anything where we can... this looks good. Rook would block. The other thing I would like to do... What I would like to do is somehow take this bishop so then I could mate. Doesn't quite work yet. So it looks to me like none of that matters because the mate is covered. So it looks like I'm just going to use the fact that this king is overworked. And so I'm going to go check, rook forced, check, king takes, and take a rook. And then I'm up a rook with an attack. So this is called checking off. The only thing that holds the rook is the king. So what we're going to do is we're going to check the king off of control of that rook. So how do we do that? We would go any of these squares. Cool. Tricky one. So we want to go like check, right? And then, haha, you can't go away. Well, the problem is you can just go back again. So then we can go check, I think. And then the, well, if the king goes here, queen would be mate. So not going to do that. So the queen would have to take. And then we can go check again, because now the bishop is revealed to the queen. So then check, king here, and then we go check, king back, and mate. Fairly certain that's it. Let's try it. Now I said knight here. Is it knight here? I don't think so. Yeah, we need something to cover the square, namely the black queen. So we'll go here. Then we'll go here. And then we will go. I thought he was going to come up here and we go check first. In this case, we're going to do it the other way around. Like that. Simple mate. Okay, that's 2100 puzzle, everybody. We have 1x, and that's embarrassing because I did, in fact, solve it. So, really hate that. Yeah, this looks like a mate in 2. Yeah? Mate in 2? This is yet another pawn is pinned. What am I missing? Nothing? Easy one. Okay. I like a free puzzle every now and then. So, we have targets here. We have a target here, and we have a target here. So, what do you say we just try to break through with stuff? Very common idea is something like take, take, take. But that doesn't work here because there's a queen. So we have to figure out something else. Oh boy. This one is confusing here. This is probably going to be our first 2200 puzzle. I do believe they give you puzzles in pairs they give you two 1500 puzzles, two 1600 puzzles, two 1700 puzzles. So this will be our first 2200 level puzzle, which is master level. We are at 40 successful puzzles. We are well past the 30 I wanted to get, but I do still want to go all the way up to master level. Is there a way that we can just come around and mate? I think so. Yeah, what if we just go here? By the way, we're down a bunch of pawns, so we do need to checkmate here. And now what I'm looking at, though, is what changed in the position. And I see that there used to be a rook here, and now there isn't. So we want to use what Josh Waitzkin called the space left behind. Because the rook is over here for some weird reason, there is now a lot more space on the C file. So we probably want to take what they left over, right? Nature abhors a vacuum. And so we want to take, okay. By the way, this is going to be check and mate. So that's why black is now throwing away a rook. Now we just got to get out of checks, which should be super simple. Yeah. And there you go. There you have it. That is how you beat a 2200 level puzzle. Look for the space left behind. So you don't have to just start hunting around the board for no reason. Just look at the material and figure out what you're trying to accomplish. Am I trying to win a rook? Am I trying to checkmate? Am I trying to do something like that? Step 2, look for the targets. Figure out what's weak. Step 3, what changed in the position and what's the space left behind? The tactic hasn't been sitting there for 4 moves. That's not how these puzzles work. That's not how chess works. So you want to look for what just changed in the position and take advantage of that. That's how we found that open C file. It doesn't look like it attacks anything, but then once you start seeing the C file, it's obvious. It's mate. We're going to play rook C7. So, and then mate with the queen on the 7th rank, stuff like that. It looks like here we have a pinned piece. What's the problem? Okay, material is even. So what do we know? Are we trying to checkmate the king? No. We're not trying to checkmate the king. We're just trying to win a simple piece or 2 or 3 pawns, or like we saw in another one, just win the whole center and get all our pieces active. Our pieces are not active, so that's not the answer. So it looks like we're going to win a piece. So we shouldn't be looking at moves like this. And those come down the file way too early, which we'll just get blocked with queens and bishops and stuff like that. And even king f1 is not enough of an advantage. So you want to look at what is attacked. And this looks like a very strong target, so I'm just going to go like this. Attack the knight, try to win the knight, and then the knight will take it, and then we will take back. Watch. Okay, they didn't do it. So let's go here. Or shall we go on a different route and probably just back up the bishop? Because that's why this bishop is here, so the pawn can't come forward. So I think we just go like this. And now we take our piece. Yay. Easy. Okay, this should just be automatic. It's one of those flash puzzles. ones that are obvious. So here, 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 checkmate. How do I see this? I see a bishop pointing directly at a king, and I see material is even. So then I think to myself, well, why is this hard? What else is there? Well, I see I can take a bishop. Okay. But I don't feel like that. I mean, that should be enough to win the game, but I think we are down 3 pawns. So that's not going to be enough to win the game. I mean, double check has to be the right answer. Probably check, right? And then king here then? And then do we go check? And then a king here? And then checkmate? So this looks like forced mate to me. But let's do it the right way. Let's actually calculate it out. We don't have to move. So here, and it's a double check. King must move. That's illegal. That's illegal. That's illegal. So we only, and that's illegal. That's illegal. So we only have the options of here and here. And that's illegal as well because of the bishop. So I feel like it's here, 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 mate. And then if it's here, here, it's here, here, here is checkmate. So looks right to me. Which way do you want to choose to die? Mate. Cool. Thought that was a really, really easy one. It's just a matter of calculation and checking all the checks and making sure you know what you're looking for. Why would I attack a bishop when I can attack a king? So how's about queen here, here, mate, right? Well, not mate right away, but it will be. It's going to be check here, check with the knight. And what we see is that these escape squares are blocked off. So he has to come forward. So he comes like here or something. Now I'm going to get mated here myself if I'm not careful. So I do have to be careful. So let's just go ahead and, well, let's try to get them right. What do you say? Let's not guess. Here, here, here. And then here. Swallow. It's a dovetail mate. That's the trick. Oftentimes you can run the king into its own pawns or something, or you can use its pawns as a tactic to like refute a move. So check this out. Here, here, here. And then you think here, oh, the king's threatening the knight. Well, is it? How can we make that a bad move? Well, we can go check. And if the king takes the knight, mate. All the way through it. If the king is right here. So that knight is actually protected, which means it'll have to go. It cannot go here and it cannot go here. So it'll go here. And then I just go check and mate. 1, 2. No, sir, you cannot take my knight. Show you what I was talking about. Right here. If here, you cannot take the knight because of the dovetail mate. And so the other line I calculated was this, but then it's almost the same thing as a dovetail mate. Notice that this square is blocked by the knight. So here, now it's actually a swallowtail mate. Huzzah! Kissing queen for the win. We started with kissing queens, and now in the last video, if you don't know what a kissing queen is, go back and watch the last video. And now we are beating 2300 level tactics with the same thing. So this will be a 2400 level puzzle. And this looks like it's check here. And what if I check again in here and check here? The king goes here and starts to get away from us. But does it? I think so. Oh, I'm being silly. It's the other mate. I don't know the name of this one. I call it a bishop bounce because we're going to use tempo on the king to relocate our bishop to this square. We're going to do that to here. So I want you to imagine the bishop is here. Okay. What would we do? We would just go, we would do a bump and run. Check. We bump the king and we run after it. Bump and run. So here we're going to do a bishop bounce followed by a bump and run. So that's a bishop bounce, bump and run. Here we go. Check. Check. And then we go boop, boop, mate. So, great. What do we have? looks like a check and take. Are we up material? We have all of our material still on the board. We're not under any threat. I think I can just do this. And then I cannot take that because it is guarded. So instead, we will have to figure out a way to get rid of that knight, I think. My own bishop is attacked. So let's try to figure out how to get the bishop out of the way while taking my bishop also. Taking their bishop, the bishop I want. I could take here, and then the rook is hanging. Then the rook goes here. And then I take here. Even castle works. If I take here, this is not undefended, folks. There's a knight here. So if I take here a castle, it looks like that should be okay. If I move the knight here, I lose a rook, and there's not really a good way to get it back. Take does nothing. So that doesn't appear to be it. One thing that I'm liking is knight sack. Skewer. It is 2 pawns for the piece. This knight is not able to guard it, and it opens up the rook to this. So those are all really, really good ideas. The queen would have to move, and then I can take the rook, right? And then there's no castle, and then I'm taking this pawn because there won't be any more castle. Okay, I think this is it. Yep, end of puzzle. Excellent work. I'm glad you guys are here helping me out with this. If it weren't for you and me trying to be a good example for you, I would not have gotten this far. 46 puzzles. We're through the 46 puzzles, and we're through the 24s. This is a 2500 level puzzle, everybody. Now, here's where I really, really, really struggle to get some because it takes a while for me to figure it out. So let's start with counting the material. White has 2 extra knights. Everybody else has a bishop, 2 rooks, and a queen. So 2 extra knights. So we're going for mate, everybody. I think that we are probably going to be looking at this. And the problem is the king is going to move. And then we don't have a check here. If we did, it would be mate. For instance, check if blocked with the pawn. Mate with the queen. So what we have to figure out is how to take advantage of this. I got it. Okay, I've solved it. Okay. Let me think, how do I explain? We want to basically crash the boards, right? We have a weakly defended king. And because of that, we want to try to wipe out as many defenses as we can. How can I get this g-pawn to move? Well, I can take it. I can take it with this bishop. And so what I looked at is, though, how can I take it with check? So then I realized I'm not going to take it with the bishop. I'm actually going to take it with the queen. And we're going to go like this. 1. That was obvious. But then the question is, how do we get to the king? Well, the thing is, I can't get him on the light squares, right? So I have to get him on the dark squares. The fact that my rook is hanging is just an extra hint, but that's not how I would have gone about solving this. What we need to do is drag the king to a dark square. Now he's on a dark square. We're going to go check. And finally, a kissing queen. Mate. That is 47 puzzles. That's a 2500 level puzzle, folks. I love that. I love that you're here for it. So let's go with this next one. I am the white pieces. So I have a piece on the back rank. Black has a piece on the back rank. I've got a rook way up the board. He's got a rook way up the board. We each have a knight near the king. So I am the white pieces, everybody. Remember that. So how's about I go check, block with the rook, and checkmate? Yeah? Feels pretty good? I mean, I like that. So check, again, block with the rook, mate. So check, block with the bishop instead. And then I think we can go, yeah, check here. King over. Can I take here? I can. I check. Yeah. Queen, bishop, queen, king, rook, bishop. Take the rook and its mate next move, or check here, or some other things. But basically winning. Oh no, there's a bishop here. Oh no. No good, no good. But what if I check here first? And when the rook... No. I check here first. When the bishop blocks, I just take a rook. And then I'm up, right? Because I'm down a bishop. That I'll be up in exchange. Because the bishop is pinned and it saves my rook. I also have a knight I can use. Does that do anything for me? Let's get the check on the board. Right. So I know that that check was happening for multiple reasons. One, I didn't want the bishop attacking my rook. And two, I wanted the freedom to take this rook without losing my own and, potentially other bad things. So now the question is, do I go like this and then this? And I don't think so. I thought it was here, but there's a knight there. So that is definitely wrong. Don't think it's knight, queen. That feels wrong. I think I'd just take this rook. Why couldn't I just take the rook? I think that I can. I'm not under threat at all. So let's just take the rook, move on with our lives. Oh, I have to do more. Okay. I'm up material. Do I just have to figure out a way to save my rook or something? It's attacked twice, but what's black's threat? I'm up in exchange. Yeah. I just threatened mate and a pinned piece. Yeah, let's mate. No, I can't. There's a rook. There's a knight. No. That's it. That is it. Rook, queen here, mate. Rook, knight here. I want to go knight check, king, mate. But I can't because there's still the queen there. So how do we get out of that pickle? What if we go rook here? And then knight takes. And I try something different. Not seeing it. Maybe I just save the rook with this. Save the rook with this. I see I have a pawn here. Is this one of those where I just have to solve the passer? Maybe. That could be it. I just take here. But then my rook will hang. Rook, knight. Rook here. Check. King moves. Check. King moves. Queen. Knight. Yikes. Take, knight, rook, queen, king, knight, king, queen, knight. We're fine. No, a lot of that's wrong because there's a queen there. Okay, I do think we just take this guy. Ah, missed one. Let's see what the right answer is, everybody. And then I think we're going to call it a day on this episode. Shall we see the answer? What is it? Yeah? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. We saw this. Just save the rook. Give up the knight because this is checkmate. That's the reason. That's the reason I have to go here. Is I'm threatening a fork of the queen and king. I had seen that I have to save the rook somehow, but I wasn't sure if I had to do that on this move, and I also wasn't positive that it had to go sideways and not just like something like back here. I couldn't figure out the difference between these. So I guess that's the answer, is that we want to threaten the king and queen. So that trumps everything else. If you take with the knight, this is mate. So that's the answer. Okay, cool. That is our second X. We are at the 2500 level. We got one 2500 correct, and we got one 2500 wrong. One more X and we're out of the game. I hope that you guys stick around for the next video. We can see how far we can get before we get that next red X. I hope it's pretty far. I'm Phoenix. I'll see you next time.